I don't have it. I don't. Is it on the?
It was.
Sean, did you turn it off?
Maybe I talked the whole time without it.
Yeah.
It was that booming voice. Well, thank you for having me here this evening. I am pleased to be here to discuss our teacher evaluation tool and updates and refinements since the governing board adoption on December 4th. That was in 2012, and that was mandated by law that the adoption was done, but some refinements needed to be made because of the implementation of the pilot hadn't been completely done. So I did give you another packet because every time we look at it, there's another comma or semicolon where it shouldn't be. So if some of this information is redundant from past governing board meetings, I apologize, but I want to make sure that everybody is understanding and on the same page of all the work that has gone on throughout the last 3 years. So Arizona revised statute, there's many places and changes that have taken place in the last 3 years, but two things have remained the same. One is the purpose for evaluation is to help improve performance and maintain instructional strengths, and the other is that when doing the evaluation system and when we're creating evaluation systems, that we need to involve our people who are closest to the issue, which are our teachers. Now, Arizona Revised Statute 15203 was greatly influenced by Senate Bill 1040 in 2010, and that required the school district to adopt a framework that included 33 to 50% based on student achievement data. And additionally, the 4 performance classifications needed to be adopted as well that the State Board of Education had out, and they published in January of 2013. So you'll see that those are included in our tool. Most recently, House Bill 2500 has it was passed in April of 2013 and has amended certain sections in Title 15 that relate to teacher certification. And those policy advisories we will be looking at the next agenda item, but I wanted to kind of go through some of the pertinent information with you that correlate to our evaluation tool for our teachers. So the first thing is the definition of a continuing teacher has changed a little bit. A continuing teacher has the majority of 3 or more years of experience and has not been designated in the lowest performance classification. In House Bill 2500, we no longer have non-continuing teachers. They are now called probationary teachers, and those are teachers with less than 3 years of experience, or and basically what it says is they're not probationary teachers because they may fall in the lowest performance classification for the prior year. Additionally, the definition for inadequacy, it needs to have input from teachers as well as incentives for highly effective teachers and teachers who are highly effective to transfer to our lower performing schools, those who have been designated as a D or an F school. And protections for teachers for those assigned to work in D or F schools, or if the principal is deemed ineffective. Additionally, House Bill 2500 discusses the need for improvement plans. It did strike the intervention option that was in the interim, but the improvement plans are mandated for those who are in the lowest performance classification, which in our tool and adopted by the state model are considered ineffective, or who have 2 consecutive years of developing and they are not in their first 2 years of teaching, or they have not changed grade level or subject area. And then classroom observations are further defined from House Bill 2500 that involve uninterrupted lessons, and at least 2 of them scheduled 60 days apart. And this has always been there, not within a break, 2 days of a break or of a week or more. And the second observation may be waived if the teacher, first observation, if the teacher is a continuing teacher and has been in the 2 highest performance classification, unless the teacher requests, and also in our pool and the updated policy, in our tool for the updated policy, if the principal sees that there, or the evaluator sees that there's a need. Also in House Bill 2500, it addresses requests from prospective employers or from our school district as well. We may ask for the evaluation of one of the teachers, and it needs to remain only for employment purposes and cannot be shared. And preliminary notices of inadequate classroom performance, we currently, those are currently in the law as well, but with House Bill 2500, it aligns the timelines for both continuing teachers and probationary teachers to have 45 days in which to correct performance and also maintain. In the past, we've had 60 days or 90 days, dependent upon if they were continuing or non-continuing teachers. So just a little bit of history. The timeline: in November of 2010, the governing board approved an advisory committee to begin the work and to look forward to working on the evaluation system. That advisory committee went out and did loop outs on the law at all of the sites. They collected information, feedback. They did crosswalks between the INTAS standards and the Danielson model and our current framework. So a lot of work was created behind the scenes. In 2012, the governing board acted for an alternative timeline for the implementation of the evaluation system. That postponed so that we wouldn't have to start our new evaluation system last year, so that we could pilot it for a year, and that we're in implementation mode this year. In December, in accordance with the law, the governing board adopted the tool, but because all of the data had yet to be collected from the pilot, we're bringing it back to you with some refinements, and that's where it leaves us tonight with a pending adoption. I know many of you have seen these slides before, but I just want to reiterate the hard work of all the teachers and administrators who have participated on the team. Those who are bolded have been everybody gave a lot of time, and I don't want to discount anybody, but those who are bolded spent time over the summer as well and participated for all 3 years in the process. So I just want to give you some time to look at all those that are listed. The purpose for the advisory committee was set forth by the governing board, and you can see that it's really to align with the state model and accelerate student achievement. We had some goal statements that were all agreed upon by committee members, and really the number one thing is to enhance and improve student learning, and you'll see a real focus on professional development and using data in which to drive that professional development. Our guiding principles look towards using multiple measures for student achievement, that it wasn't just based on our observation, but collecting many different forms of measures, not just aims, and helping to determine what kind of support would be needed. So here, the basic framework for our evaluation tool for our teachers has not changed from the pilot. The whole system now is considered the standard evaluation system. In the past, it was just the observational piece. So observations account for 55% of the total score for our teachers. Cite aggregate data for 10%, and that's to encourage collaboration, and student data 35%. So you can see the student data. We break them up into Group A and Group B. I know I always say A's are our awesome teachers and B's are our brilliant teachers because I don't want them to think that there's any difference there. The difference has to do with the type of data available for those groupings, and we'll go into that further. Our probationary teachers, those have to have two scheduled formal observations and multiple informals. They need to be 60 days apart. And then our continuing teachers, at least one, unless the teacher requests or the principal sees the need. So I just went kind of through that already, so I'm just going to skip through there. So our observational indicators are built around the Danielson model. The domains that we utilize are the planning for instruction, implementation, and classroom management. The professionalism piece, advice of our attorney and in consultation with our committee, has been dropped from the teacher evaluation tool and really is focused on our staff ethics, staff conduct policies and responsibilities of the teacher. And I already shared with you that the group looked at the different indicators. We have 17 indicators total, 11 for planning for instruction, 3 for planning, 11 for implementation, and 3 for classroom management, and did crosswalk with the standards there. Now, I am aware that the Danielson model has now, the latest edition is 2013 to align with the Common Core. The committee has not yet gone through and looked at that piece of information, and that would be great work to do for the upcoming school year. So here is our observational rating scale, and remember not to confuse the total classifications with just the observational rating scale. The classifications are in alignment because we don't want to confuse people. So the verbiage is the same, but this is just for the observational portion. And we did discuss the verbiage where it's on point number 4, maintains high levels all of the time. Is that really reasonable? So we went back to our verbiage before about consistency, brought back to the principles. What does consistency mean? And there was agreement that that would be about 80% or more of the time when looking at this. And the qualified evaluators training really focused on inter-rater reliability, and it's our intention to keep that up throughout the year so that it's ongoing, it's not just a one-shot training. So here you can see a visual representation of our Group A teachers and what assessments are available to them. That's grades 2 through 6, and our middle grades, math and language arts, that includes our reading. And so some of the changes from our pilot is we used to collect the data via the SharePoint system, and found that ATI really offers a much more timely data, plus many pre-post assessments are available there for our teachers. And we dropped the benchmark assessments because that was creating a lot of confusion. Let's see, no, lost my train of thought. Well, so I'll move on to Group B teachers.
Can I ask a quick question while
Sure.
we're still on the A slide? So you got rid of the benchmarks, right?
Mhm.
Because there was too much confusion, you said. Then the pre and post was added. So can I just ask maybe who created the pre and post, and my biggest concern, I guess, are the same objectives on the pre-test as the post-test, because as the benchmarks went, those would be different objectives throughout the whole year. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. So Ms. Castine, you're absolutely right. The benchmark assessments tested certain EPOs each quarter, and that's where the confusion came, because teachers had a hard time seeing that it was a comprehensive growth for their students. And the benchmark assessment was given well into the school year after EPOs were already started. So the pre-post assessments, those are available on the ATI system, and for these grade levels, they have been through their metrics, psychometrics and everything, and they're aligned to the Common Core standards. So it won't be the specific objectives that are being taught each quarter, but the pre-test will be given as soon as possible, and the post-test will be given at the end of the year.
Okay.
So it should be a better measure for us. Thank you for asking. Sorry if I go too fast sometimes. Okay. So here with our Group B teachers, the confusion that was in our pilot on their Group B really related to our student achievement plans and the complexity that was asked of our teachers in writing the plans, the data collected and the analysis. It was very much aligned to our career ladder plans, but once you tell teachers exactly which assessments to use, the career ladder plans and the creativity of the teachers, that it just didn't mesh as well to get to those higher level thinkings. So we're moving towards the ATI system. Some pre-post assessments are available on ATI for our Group B teachers. So that's good news. Other assessments that we have available for those teachers can be used as well. So for example, the iSteep and the Maze. And then we have the modified student achievement plan as a backup, and it's much more simplified. It's what is the goal, what's the rationale for using these assessments, and how will it be measured. So there's a little bit of changes there. And some of our assessments, just so you know, for our Group B teachers are based on performance assessments that the teachers did create together. For example, the art assessment and the music assessment. So the performance classifications, they were adopted by the State Department of Education, and those are based on the evaluation system as a whole, not just the observational ratings. So you can see here where the consistency and the effectiveness kind of runs throughout the definitions, and the developing and ineffective as well. Okay, are there any questions? I know I talk really fast.
Just a quick clarification on the Group B data. So some of it is similar in terms of what the Group A teachers have, right? We've got AIMS, iSteep, some pre and post tests available in Azella. So in grades K1 and the science and social studies, is that data the school level? Does it translate into school level measures for those teachers? So we have, Azella scores overall at the school maybe using.
Actually, we are doing our very best to translate them to the teacher level. So if you are a first grade teacher of ELD students, those ELD scores will be, those Azella scores will be attributed to you. So the school, where the school level data comes in, is our teachers on assignment, because we see them as affecting the whole school in their area of reading or math, or the reading interventionists as well, that they had a focus group led by Mr. Dupin and Dr. Lauren, really meeting with those Group B teachers to make those refinements.
So how will we move Group B teachers into Group A? So I'm looking at like the K1 grades and what you're describing in terms of iSteep and Azella and potentially pre and post test. When those are all fully implemented, will mean that those teachers have valid and reliable data in the content areas for which they teach. So can you describe a little bit of the process that you're envisioning? At what point will either you make recommendations or it will just occur that group will be categorized under Group A.
Yeah, and you picked the perfect 2 grade levels that we had them in
It's
group.
like I'm a plant or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, no, it is. And so we first had them in Group B, then we moved into Group A because we felt like we had enough data available. Then when we decided to go to the pre-post assessments with ATI and getting feedback from our kindergarten teachers and our first grade teachers, specifically those who were on the committee had some concerns about the amount of testing that was required and the amount of one-on-one testing. So because we didn't have full information from ATI on what the kindergarten first grade assessment looked like, we were hesitant to say, okay, you're back in Group A, give these assessments. So we have a few teachers who have already stepped up to the plate. Kudos to them, and they want a pilot for this year. And so we hope to, by next year, be able to move those assessments over. As far as the other areas, it's really dependent upon the availability of pre-post assessments or other data.
Thank you. I mean, I would just like to, if there, just as you're thinking about your other questions, I would just like to say thank you for taking all of this back to the committee and the committee coming back together in short order and really addressing the concerns that were raised by the board at the last meeting. And this is a very clearly articulated, plan, and it helps to clarify and address some of the concerns that at least I know I was raising. So I, feel much more confident that I have an understanding of what the direction is moving forward. So thank you, because I know that this was a lot of hard work in the middle of all of the other stuff that you were planning on doing with yourself in the last 2 weeks. So I appreciate the effort that you, as well as the committee, went through to update us. Thank you.
They're an amazing group of people. Thank you.
I second what LD said.
There are questions, discussion, motion.
If you don't mind, I'd like to make a motion since I
I do not
made
mind.
them work so hard. So I move that the governing board approve the revisions to the standard evaluation system for teachers as presented for use in the 2013-14 school year.
I second.
It has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is approved. And we move on to governing board, ASBA policy advisories 473 through 475.